So you think you know what it takes? You think you have the balls to become a sports bike racer? We'll see. Stick around. And now, straight from the Law-Abiding Biker Media Studio,
out of sunny Yakima, Washington,
we bring you another episode of the
#1 listen to motorcycle podcast.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
Hey, Bikeaholics and listeners alike, the show is still going strong because of a lot of hard work and your support, of course. Thanks to all those loyal listeners and true friends of the show that have supported us or are supporting us. For less than a coffee a month, you can help support us too and put a little fuel in the law-abiding biker gas tank to make sure this show keeps moving on down the road. So, calling all law-abiding bikers, head over to our Patreon page and take action today. You can do so at lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. Oh, did I mention there's benefits too? From all your friends at lawabidingbiker.com, we appreciate each and every one of you. God bless and ride safe. Oh yeah, Lurchy, you feeling it?
I'm feeling it, brother.
That's right. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Hey, you got it right for once.
Yeah, welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the Big MM. That's right, the motorcycle majority, also known as the
99%.
That is right. All of us, that includes you listeners out there, are large and in charge of the motorcycle scene. That's right. It's a biker revolution, bitches. Join it. Know it. Feel it. Love it. We do have a question. Do you know what that question is, Lurch? For the community?
What are you doing? Why aren't you out there riding?
That's right. Mount up, bikeaholics. Let us take you on another wild-ass ride. All right, guys. Ryan Urlacher here, Law-Abiding Biker Podcast, your host, of course, and also known as your
high-tech redneck.
That is right. That is one Lurch in the house. And Lurch, it has been a while since you've been in the studio. Is that not right?
That is correct. It's nice to be back.
It is, man. We have got a loaded episode for you guys. We got a great interview coming up. A couple things we want to mention. It's been a very busy day for us. Me and Lurch have been working since early this morning, filmed a couple videos for you guys, a couple free videos that have come out. Awesome, useful videos on DTC's diagnostic trouble codes and stuff reference your alarm systems on your Harleys. Don't worry, we're working as hard as we can behind the scenes here. And then we're doing a couple episodes tonight, one live and one not. But anyways, here we are later into the evening and sitting here in the studio doing our favorite thing, which is being right here on the mics, huh?
Just sitting here and enjoying an adult beverage.
I didn't give you a proper intro.
There you go.
I feel rude. Here we go. There we go. That is just for Lurch there. But yeah, we've been working hard for you guys, and a couple things we want to mention real quick before we get into our interview, and that is we have two. We're going to get in a little more into these when I get Oscar in the studio. We're going to break down and we're going to do a duel, the DynoJet Power Vision versus the Vance & Hines Fuel Pack 3. We've had both units. We've spent a lot of time. We've researched, we've installed, we've done videos. If you're interested in the DynoJet electronic fuel injection, the Power Vision, you can head over and check our video out at lawabidingbiker.com/Power Vision. It is one of our higher end for purchase videos. Of course, 95% of our content is for free. Here at Law Abiding Biker Media, we do sell a few videos like that one for obvious reasons because it costs us a lot of time and money to get this stuff out to you guys. And then if you want to check out the free Vance & Hines Fuel Pack 3 video, it is at lawabidingbiker.com/Fuel Pack 3. That's fuel, P-A-K, and the number 3. Of course, at any time, you can go to the Law Abiding Biker website and just use the search bar in the upper right-hand corner, search for anything you want, and you would come up with the same results. But those are direct links. And again, in the future, we are going to do a head-to-head comparison and what we think is better for certain circumstances to give you guys a really good idea of what to use. Of course, we worked with DynoJet and Vance & Hines, and we really appreciate them. But again, we'll get into more of that. We just wanted to let you know that those videos are available for you right now.
I look forward to seeing those. It's going to be nice.
Yes. And and you're maybe be using a Fuel Pack 3 here soon, right?
Yeah.
I think? Hopefully.
Well, the plan is to purchase a new bike here. It's time to upgrade. So
absolutely.
If I do that, I'd be crazy to waste my money on a download stock map from Harley.
There you
Spend
go.
a couple $100 more and I can have the Fuel Pack 3.
Absolutely.
And I can fine tune it on the auto tune feature.
Yes, and not throw your money away. And we will get into that. Of course, that's a little sneak peek into that. That's awesome. And maybe even Lurch will be in the studio that night. And we'll break it down, a head-to-head duo of sorts. All right, guys. You know why this show's possible, Lurch? Do you have any idea?
Because of our awesome patrons.
You know it, buddy. That's right. They took action. They got involved. They became patrons, guys. They're supporting us. They're making sure. They're making sure that law-abiding bikers all over the world have access to this content, and they don't want to see it go. They appreciate the work and the effort that we put in. And how do they show their support? They become a patron. That's right. It costs them, you can start as low as less than the price of a coffee per month, guys. And we want to thank who, Lurch?
We're going to thank Dave Fugate of Eaton, Ohio.
That's right. One of our newest patrons. Thanks, Dave. Really appreciate it. How did he get involved? He just simply one day said, I am going to help out. I am going to make sure this thing keeps going. I like it. And he went to lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon, and he pledged a certain amount. And he is now supporting us. He gets benefits. Depending on what level you get in over there, guys, you can get into the private Facebook group. You can look at the levels over there. And T-shirts and stickers and some other benefits. Even if you get to a certain level, you can get access to any of our 4 purchase videos.
Sweet.
Yeah, dude.
He's helped put a little fuel in the law-abiding gas tank to keep this thing running on down the road.
Oh, I like it. And Lurch knows how much that means to us. All the guys here at Law Abiding Biker Media realize the necessity and the value that patrons bring to you guys. They're the reason you guys have an app. Don't forget our app, lawabidingbiker.com/app. It's free, but it's not free because the patrons are supporting that to make sure you guys have it. So, we appreciate it. And as Lurch spends more time behind the scenes, he spends the most time. He realizes the value of knowing that you guys are donating a certain amount per piece of content. It's assured income so that we can pay assured bills that will be here every month. And it gives us an idea, like we've said in the past, of what services we can provide and just how quickly we can progress. I mean, that's really kind of the backbone of Law Abiding Biker Media right now, is knowing that we can keep providing services for you guys. Anything on that, Lurch?
No, I think you said it beautifully, sir.
All right. Really quick, guys. We're going to talk about this more. Me and Lurch will in another podcast, but our biker grippers are awesome, guys. And they are a cell phone. If you need a cell phone motor or GPS motorcycle mounting solution, I'm telling you, get the biker gripper. It's the sexiest, sleekest, strongest cell phone and GPS motorcycle mount on the market. Guaranteed, guys. You use it to mount your cell phone, GPS devices, radar detectors, EFI tuners, toll transponders, and so much more. You can mount them right to your handlebars. There's several different versions to choose from. They are tried and tested by the Law Abiding Biker crew. We tested them for at least 1.5 years. We believe in it so much, we put our stamp of approval on it. We put our very own logo on this cell phone motorcycle mount that we now call the Biker Grippets. It's got our exclusive logo on it. It is available exclusive. The only place you can get it is right in our very own Law Abiding Biker store, which is live now. It's been live for some time. We just haven't had time to announce it. Again, you can choose from a couple different models there. There's videos over there. Just head over to lawabidingbiker.com/biker gripper. Everything you need. There's a blog article. There's links to our store. There's links how to get it. There's videos on which model you need. I mean, in true law-abiding biker style, we did it right. We started from the ground up. We got the product. We did the videos. There's nothing that you're going to be confused about. And we're telling you, we're going to get into these stories in another podcast. Those biker grippers have been through 2 wrecks now, 2 high sides. I mean, one was a high side, one was a laydown. And the phones, guys, this is why we put our logo on it. The phone did not come out of some very violent crashes, right? Law-abiding biker crew crashes, mine and Chewy, which we're not going to talk about right now, Chewy and his wife. And let me tell you guys, after that, we just could not put our logo on that, especially after mine, a high side, and the phone was right where it was supposed to be. And they're just sexy looking. And our logo is, I'm sorry, I love it. It's custom. We had it custom made.
Oh, it's the bee's knees.
It is the bee's knees.
It's buddy approved.
Yep. And don't worry if the store says the quantity is a little low. If it says there's only 3 or 4 left, we're constantly keeping our stock up to date. You're not going to have to wait that long. And we do have the best prices anyways. I made sure they were the best prices for you guys to get a hold of this cell phone motorcycle mount with our logo. But that does help us out a little bit. Just know that if you purchase one of those, you're also helping us. So today's show that we're going to get into is all about, we're going to get into an interview here. We're very, very excited to have her on the line with us and standing by. And that is Kristin Casey of KristinCaseyRacing.com. She has been in the sport off and on, amateur for about 4 years. She's working her way up. There's not a lot of females involved in this sport. She has to race against guys right now. Very inspiring, intriguing story about some of the difficulties and some of the places she's been and some of the wrecks she's been in and how she's moving forward and a little bit of backstory. It'll give you guys a great insight. It did me because I'm not a huge racing guy. I don't follow, if you call it the circuit or whatever you call it. I don't follow motorcycle racing. I like watching it if it happens to be on TV, but I don't really know what goes on in that industry. So I got to ask her a lot of questions. And if you guys are interested, I know we have a lot of riders. Of course, we support all motorcycles here at Law Abiding Biker Media, no matter what you ride, as long as it has 2 years or 2 wheels. Two wheels. But it got a lot of insight into that industry and what's going on and how you can get involved in it and some of these tracks. And it's a pretty cutthroat industry. It's a dog eat world, Lurch, and they're all wearing milk-bone shorts.
Oh yeah, Kristin's a tough chick, and she's got a great story. Definitely one of perseverance.
Because we talked to her a little bit before the interview, right, about it, and then we got into deeper in the interview.
Right.
So we hope to learn more about her story as we interview her here. But yeah, we did our research. You researched her background and whatnot, and yeah, she's got a lot of information out there. But yeah, it is sports bike racing, guys, and it's an interesting industry, and we dive deep into it. With that said, let's. What do you think, Lurch? Should we bump right into our interview here?
Let's do it.
Let's do this thing. All right. And now, where are you based out of?
Delaware.
Delaware. Okay. And you lived there all your life, or what?
Yeah. Well, I grew up right outside of Westchester, Pennsylvania, which is like right near Philadelphia area. And then we moved to Delaware when I was like in grade school, like 3rd, 4th grade, and been here since. I've moved around a lot since then personally, but like growing up and going to school was definitely from here. Also graduated from University of Delaware, went to University of Maryland for a little bit, but in between high school and now I've lived in California, Maryland, North Carolina, New York, Florida,
smokes.
New Jersey, and Delaware.
And what did you go to college for?
I started doing architectural engineering. Then I was pre-veterinary science. And then I graduated with business psychology and business marketing.
Wow. Okay. Did you do, obviously before you got into the motorcycle stuff, did you do anything with those degrees, so to speak? Did you work at a job where you utilized them?
No.
Okay.
I got those I got 2 degrees, but the reason I got them was because I was training horses at the time growing up, and I was afraid that if I got severely hurt or injured or something prevented me from continuing to compete horses, that I would need something to fall back on in case I were handicapped in some way, shape, or form. So I really just got a degree because of that. And my first real desk job was about 2 years ago, where I'm currently at now. Up until then, I was training horses and then racing motorcycles, and that was it.
Okay. So you're still working a full-time job doing in what field right now?
I'm in sales right now for a heating and air conditioning company.
Okay.
Really random, I know.
Oh, hey, whatever. Yeah, no, I'm just generally curious.
Yep.
And now do you work 2 jobs right now to support this racing thing, or are you just working the one job?
Well, I was bartending as well, but I need some sleep sometimes.
Yeah.
So now I'm just down to the sales job. I probably consider racing on the back end as far as like sponsorship sales and media marketing and social media marketing is concerned, a second job sometimes, because I think it is necessary in our sport, but I don't quote unquote label it as a job, even though it does take up a lot of your time.
Right. No, I totally agree. So you're like me, getting running on weeks with 3 hours, 4 hours of sleep. No, social media marketing. I would think in your sport, or even what, like this podcast and all the promo stuff we have to do, it really can make you or break you these days. Are you seeing kind of the same thing as far as you got to be out there so people know about you?
You have to. It's all about how many followers you have and what your presence is and the impressions you can make and how lasting those impressions will be and how relatable you are to consumers in the general market. And the only way to do that is through social media, because we're not on CBS primetime. We're just not. It's like the redheaded stepchild of the motorsports industry. And without social media, you're dead in the water.
Yeah. So you would say, so there's a lot of, racers and so what do you call your particular, category? Is it fair to say amateur and then it goes professional, or is there an in-between? Explain that.
Yeah. So there's amateur, and then there's not really a pro-am category. It would just be amateur and then professional, which would be like your AMA, which is now the Moto America license, which is still sanctioned by AMA, but now marketed and managed by Moto America. And then above that would be like your World Superbike, World Super Sport, British Superbike, and then above that would be like your Moto 2, Moto 3, Moto GP. It's kind of like the hierarchy or totem pole, so to say. Okay,
and so if you, from now, obviously you've been racing for a few years, we'll get a little more into that, but you're basically, what's your next, what are you shooting for? What's your next, taking it up and the next level? Where is that for you?
My next notch would be, at the conclusion, I've had a lot of time off here and there because of various reasons, but my goal would be to be experienced and solid enough to go for my pro license next year and really make that a full-time schedule.
So pro license, what is a pro license? Is that something you have to go test for, or what?
Can I get that onto my driver's license?
Yeah, can we get that added to our driver's licenses, please?
Negative.
Oh.
A whole other card right there. So once you have been in a racing organization long enough and you have either a certain amount of points or you're evaluated by the race officials and organization that you are strong enough and your lap times are fast enough, you can get your expert license. You then, according to the Moto America rules, need to be competing at least 3 race weekends, I believe, minimum at your expert level of playing field, shall I say, before you can qualify to get your pro license. So to qualify to get the pro license, you then have to go to a pro racing weekend, go out there, go during a qualifying lap, and your times have to be within, I believe, 110% of the fastest time in that same race category for you to be deemed safe to compete with the rest of the field. So at any given time, you could go and knock your socks off and do your best time ever and get your pro license, then have it, but then also maybe go and do really horrible and not be in the zone and not get it. So if you're going to go out for it, you definitely have to be ready and prepared and know that your times are pretty solid and the chances of you qualifying for that race, otherwise you're going to be spending a boatload of money to have to go home and not grid up the next day.
Right. So it's fair to say it's kind of something you go for when you're really ready for it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to just go and be like, oh, we're just going to give it a try.
Right.
Unless there's money to burn like that, well then by all means, but not the smartest of moves.
So let's take it back just a little bit. So we talked a little bit about your background and college and your job. So at some point, how old are you, Kristin?
I'm going to be 30 this year.
Okay. Young lady. Young lady. All right. So 30 years old, at some point in your life, you're training horses, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were in that business, so to speak, and you got a little fire in your belly to go try sports bike racing, right? Is that?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. I mean, I had I had been training horses and reselling them and competing them. And every time I sold a horse and I made a profit, I would reinvest some of it, save some of it, and spend some of it. And some of the spending went to one day just waking up and going, I think I'm going to buy a sport bike today, because I'd always loved them. I didn't know anything about them, nor did I know how to ride them. And that was in, I don't know, 2006 maybe. So I got like a little FZR 600, this 98 carbureted hunk of junk bike that I tooled around with. And then as the years went on, I would sell a more expensive horse, get a more expensive bike, and I just kept upgrading and upgrading. And I was probably going to kill myself, and I can't hate on all the people that I see on the street, even though I really, really want to. But I was one of those people who was running around with like no clothing on, or no protective gear, I should say, running 100 plus miles an hour in between traffic like I had a death wish. Someone said to me, you should try riding on the track. I bet you wouldn't be as fast as you think you are. And I said, oh yeah, watch me. And long story short, I went and I saw what it was all about, and I sold my bike, and within 48 hours I did my first track day, and 3 months later got my race license, and that was kind of the end of that. I never rode on the street again since then.
Wow. So no more, just not even like for fun, like cruising, just.
No.
Okay. No touring, nothing like that to relax?
No. My relaxing was like an oil change after a race weekend.
Right on.
Prepping for the weekend.
So you sell your bike, and you said you're on the track the next, or within 48 hours or something. What do you go buy?
Literally this weekend. Like I sold my street bike. I put it on Craigslist, and this is like when Craigslist was a legitimate marketplace,
right? And
you could sell things of value,
right?
Kind of like not turned into that anymore. But some guy came to my work the next day, cash in hand, full asking price, and then 2 days later, I drove down to Virginia, checked out this race bike. It was an SV 650. Picked it up for like $2,500, and used the extra money from my street bike sale to get my suit and boots and gloves and all the stuff I needed. And then I went to a track day the following weekend and crashed 3 times my first day, because I thought I was hot stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, watch me. And I just kept crashing, and showed up the next weekend, and they were like, oh my God, you're here. We didn't think we'd ever see you again. And I just kept at it until I got better.
So you get a race bike. What do you mean by race bike? And I mean, you got the leather gear and all that. What that cost you generally speaking, for the audience, what does that cost somebody to get into if they want to go do what you started out?
You can get like a decent suit for probably $1,000 or a little bit less, maybe. You don't want to get cheap leather, because that is the only thing that's your cage or your bubble or your protective surface other than the skin itself on your bones. So probably looking at like anywhere like $850 to $1,000. You can get a starter race suit that's not overly protective, but will pass for any sort of track day organization. It has to be either a one-piece suit or a zip-up suit that connects the pants to the top. Then the boots are probably roughly like anywhere from $275 to $450 for a set of boots, and your gloves probably anywhere from like $125 to $300. And then your helmet has to be within, I believe, 5 years at the most. It might be even less than that now. You can wear whatever helmet you want, but I choose to wear I was wearing a couple different brands, but I'm currently sponsored by Schuberth, so I'm going to go ahead and plug Schuberth in this
go for it.
Currently podcast now. I personally have been through enough accidents in horses and motorcycles that I certainly know what good protection means to save yourself the ER bill. So I choose to, put the best of whatever I can find on my head. And right now, I believe that is the Schuberth helmet. So that's what I use, which is running retail over $900 right now. So, they have other brands and they actually have the first approved modular helmet that flips up that's DOT approved. So they have other models that aren't like a race model. Race helmets are constructed a little bit differently, but not to get too far off on a tangent with that. But you can choose whatever helmet. I mean, it just has to be a newer helmet in order to get into the track day racing organizations and get passed through tech inspection. It has to be a gauntlet-sized glove and a taller boot above the ankle to get through that. So those are like your minimum requirements. And then to answer your question with the race bike, it just has to be, I mean, you can take your street bike to the track. You just have to tape up the mirrors. Race bikes have more tech inspections required than a track day organization would. Like, we got everything because of the weight. For example, like my bike now, I have an R6 Yamaha, and it was 420 and some change out of the factory. And right now with full fluids loaded, it's 375. So we've dropped a significant amount of weight from the bike. A lot of that comes from the bodywork. Took off the fans for the radiators because we're never sitting still, so there's no point in having radiator fans. When the bike's sitting still, it's already shut off in most cases at that point, so never really overheating. There's a lot of little things that we can probably talk about for a very, very long time on how to modify your bike, but just like some glimpses into it. There's the major things like the bodywork, take off the mirrors. But if you don't want to take off your regular street bike mirrors, then you can tape them and tape over your headlights as well, because they're a distraction on the track.
Okay, now, so do these tracks that you go to, do they charge you a certain amount when you started getting into it, or is there classes or instructors or what?
It's all of that. Yeah. Sorry. Excuse me. It's usually a fee of anywhere from like, I don't know, I guess $100 and some dollars, like $185 to $275 and upwards a day, depending on what type of organization you're running with and what instruction they're offering. But most of the time there will be, if it's your first time ever on the track, you'll have an introductory class, and you'll have part classroom time, part track time, and then part downtime. And throughout the day, you'll run in sessions, like 20-minute sessions, and slowly work your way up to a faster pace, and have a rider coach that's tagging along with you, in front of you and behind you, and showing you where to go, and using hand signals to signal braking and throttle on and different markers, and making sure that you're doing what you should be doing to stay safe and that you're not biting off more than you can chew. And then as you progress, they'll either move you up in groups or in levels, and there's like a beginner class, intermediate, advanced, and then like a super fast class. So they'll have them in different sections so they don't have people getting bottlenecked or feeling like people are passing them that are making them nervous. They'll group everybody accordingly so everybody's comfortable and having a good time. And that's how it should be. So,
yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like fun. And then, so to bring it back, you started, is it fair to say like 2010? You did?
Yeah, so 2010 in the summertime, like right around now, I would say, is when I did my first track day. And at the end of that year, in September, I went out for my race license, which is another classroom type organization set up, a little bit more advanced in your skills. And then they have a mock race at the end of the day. And if you don't crash during that mock race, you're awarded your racing license by one of these, approved organizations or schools. And then you can usually race the following day. So they'll usually have this school on a Friday and the race weekend on a Saturday, Sunday following. So that's what I did. Placed, I don't know, like second or third to last. And then I won a female class, which was me, myself, and one other girl. It was woo.
Hey, win's a win.
They've now got, yeah, right. Yeah, I guess. Winning is always going home the way you left and not having a repair bill in my eyes at this point. So
yeah, no doubt.
Or being able to drive home yourself, for that matter. Even sometimes, if you can't drive your own bike home, you probably didn't win that weekend. Yeah, so I did that, and then after that, in October, I went to Peru and raced in the 600s and got fourth place in both of those classes, and then went to Australia, and then came back and had a full-time job offer and packed my stuff and moved to Florida to ride full-time down there. Got to the beginning of the season, got 2 races in, moved up in class to the super sport class, which is like the inline 4s and the 600s from the V-twins and the SV650 I was on before. and got like all top 10s, second race weekend on moving up in class in like April, right around now. And I crashed and almost lost my leg and was in a wheelchair and had to take time off. And
yeah, tell us about that a little bit, because I read that on your bio on the website. So pretty severe crash, not that long into this little journey, huh?
Yeah, I was just getting started. I was feeling great. I was moving along pretty quickly and moving well, placing well, doing well, feeling great. I had a good team behind me. And my brakes didn't work coming into a turn, and I didn't realize there was a sand trap. And when I saw that there was a sand trap, it was then too late, and the bike high-sided and landed on my kneecap from the sky. Just bad luck, bad timing, bad everything. I had over 40 fractures in my leg, my ACL, MCL, PCL, meniscus, tib, fib, femur, tibial plateau, anything you can think of, you name it, it was smashed to pieces. Nobody wanted to operate on it. Nobody knew how to fix it. It was really frustrating trying to find a doctor that didn't want to just chop off my leg. And none of them wanted to do that, so they just turned me away, which was very concerning. But eventually we found somebody at University of Pennsylvania, Dr. Mehta, who literally saved my leg. I can't thank him enough. I still have racers and athletes and people emailing me even to this day asking my advice on how to recover from things like that, because it was just so traumatic. Or even, his contact information if they have a serious injury and they're not liking the medical attention that they're getting, because he truly did a miracle on my leg. I mean, I don't even know how they did that, but they did. It was quite a feat.
Wow. That's, unreal. So this took you out for a while, and then you're thinking you're going to lose your leg and you're not going to be able to race anymore. I'm sure that's going through your head.
No. I thought I'm going to be lighter and faster.
Oh, okay.
Titanium knee and a titanium leg, and if anybody crashes into it, well, that's tough luck for them, because it ain't going to hurt me no more.
Right, yeah.
I did not have a negative outlook going into it at all, and I don't know how I did that, but when I think everything is out of your control and all you can do is hope for the best, is an outlook that can truly make or break your recovery time and the whole process. Because me going under anesthesia, I have no control over how that surgery is going to come out. So me worrying about, oh my God, am I going to wake up without a leg? It doesn't do anybody any good. So I just told them, well, if you're going to make it a titanium leg, you better make it good, because it's going to have to fit into a race suit. I'm telling you right now, it's like not an option. And they were like, all right, well, we'll find out. And then that was kind of the end of that.
Wow. And so I'm sure some rehab and stuff. And now, how is it today? Does it still affect you, or?
Oh, I do like twice my weight in deadlifts. I run, jump, everything fine.
Wow. That's awesome. That you found a doctor that could do that, for sure.
Yeah. That's actually my third reconstructive knee surgery, actually. I'm just racking them up. Like, I have 2 on my left knee, and that was on my right knee. They're both holding strong.
Well, good thing you're 30, so they can still fix you.
I'm sure when I'm like 60, it'll be a whole other story.
Right, yeah. They can't fix guys like us, but you're young, so.
I can see it now. I'm going to be like old and retired, and you're like, why can't you play with us? Well, see this story way back in the day. I'll be showing like my x-ray films.
Oh yeah. You might get titaniums by then, who knows.
Can you
I have titanium now, actually. What they did in my right knee was they took these Keynesian wires, which apparently kind of joke with my buddies, because we safety wire a lot of the nuts and bolts on the bike, like the brake caliper bolts, the oil drain pan bolt, stuff like that. We safety wire with this wire that's really thin, high tensile strength wire. And that's what they did with all the little bone chunks in my knee. They took, a handful of bone chunks and put these metal wires through them and threaded them through and made one big boulder of a bone chunk, and then put them in with pins and screws and twisty tied them is a nice way of putting it, I guess, and put them back into place.
Wow,
So
you must have a hell of a time at a airport trying to get through a metal detector.
You know what? They gave me a card, and every now and then I'll be in line, and they'll be like, you, and you, over here. They're like, and anybody else with metal, bone, chip, blah, blah, blah. And they go down this like list, and I'm like, actually, I need to be in that line. And they always look at me funny, like, no. I'm like, yeah, no, really. I should probably be in that line, seriously. I have like a pin cushion in both of my knees. But it never goes off. So I think they have new higher tech metal detectors now that can sense that in some way. I don't know. But I never have a problem, thankfully.
So you you said you talk about these races. I wanted to fall back just a little bit.
Yeah.
What are you racing against females in all these races, or is there males intertwined, or what's going on here?
We cut that out. There's not enough girls. It's like 1% of the population even hold a race license, let alone are active in the sport.
Wow.
On the East Coast. So usually, like this past weekend, our grids were 45 riders, and I was the only girl out there. No, I take it back. My friend SJ, she was out there with me. Her and I were the only two girls out there against all the guys this weekend. So
how does that go for you? Does God, I didn't realize it was that small. I figured there was more than that, but as far as getting into this industry and being legit and the way maybe some of the male riders are looking at you, I mean, give us some of your experiences with that.
Well, it's like anything. I mean, they don't like it when they get passed by a girl, which is understandable.
Don't worry about it. Matt here gets passed every day by girls. He's used to it.
That's true.
Which is exactly why I leave my ponytail out as a constant reminder that, yes, you just got passed by a girl, in case you didn't already know. No, I'm just kidding. Well, kind of, sort of, but yeah, I mean, that is part of the reason why I do it. And the other part is because I like to be able to find out my own photos when I'm picking them out of the hundreds that are posted online. I'm like, all right, where am I at? Because a lot of times we can look exactly the same in our leathers. I mean, you know, if you're leaned over sideways and all you can see is an elbow and a kneecap and a boot, like, and the race number, if you're scanning through pictures, it's hard to tell. But, you know, most of the guys, I kind of had it a little bit tougher when I first started because I didn't know anyone. I didn't like prove myself in the pack, shall we say. But I think as time went on and as they saw my passion for the sport, I got a little more respect in the racing community. And especially after coming back from an injury like I did, most people would not have probably come back from that. I mean, your rookie year racing, you haven't even done one season yet, and you're risking amputation and in a wheelchair, and then to take 3+ years off and just get back into it. I mean, my second race weekend back, I got a podium in heavyweight super sport. So I don't really get any slack anymore from them. Now I'm just like their sister, you know, and they pal around with me just like they would anybody else, and that's how it should be. You know, just I'm a competitor just like they are, and no different, no less, no more. Just we're all out there doing the same thing. So,
and it's fair to say, I mean, in this sport, I mean, you're talking about all classes. There's that small amount of women involved.
Yeah.
So that's always going to be a deal for you as you bump new classes. Just you're always going to be racing against guys as far as it goes for now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think on the West Coast, it's a little more populated. They have a female class, but out here, us girls, we don't want to race against only girls because for what? I mean, you're going to be racing against only guys in the future, so why race only against girls now if that's not the same starting grid you're going to be when you move up in class?
Right. Good point. Good point.
I mean, you better learn your competitors now rather than later. And if you're going to be racing with the boys, you just got to buck up and race with the guys.
Now, are you now married to another racer, or
no?
You're not. So single?
Yeah, definitely single. I choose not to date racers for the reason of I think it's a conflict of interest. The chance of it working out and not having my entire personal life spread around the paddock is slim to none. So I feel like I just don't have any reason to date a racer, and I want to keep my personal life separate from the track. I have enough distractions, as it is, it just with life, and anybody does, and to bring more attention, already being a girl as a minority in the sport, to then run the risk of dating someone and it not working out, and then having that extra distraction at the track is just not worth it to me. So I just choose not to.
Plus, when you pass them, they probably wouldn't like that.
No.
You don't want to pass your husband on the track.
Extra drama, and I'm all about drama free. So
Yeah.
and stay clear of that.
So to put this all in perspective here, because it's just running in my mind. So this is obviously at this point, you're, at some point you heal up, you're back, you decide to get back on the bike. And this is a real lifestyle type deal, because you're not making a living off this, right?
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not. No.
So people that want to get into racing are at this
Better
level.
not be doing it for a paycheck, because it ain't gonna last very long. Let me tell you.
Okay. That's kind of what I'm seeing. So let's talk about that a little bit. So this is something that's a passion for you, to race. You're working a job. This has got to be complicated. And like you say, you're getting very little sleep. Me too, trying to run this side business here, or side deal. But so you're working these regular shifts. You're trying to do social media here. You're getting out on podcasts. You're doing Facebook. You're trying to get to races on the weekend. I saw some point that you're on your YouTube channel that you're fixing up a car hauler trade. Tell me how this works, or it doesn't work.
Lack of sleep and coffee and energy drinks. It's just a fine balance of time management. And I'm not the only one. Every racer I know, unless they have deep pockets and just never-ending bills that seem to come out of nowhere, they're all doing the same thing, balancing family and life and work and the everyday hustle, and then this side life. It's like a separate life that you also have to live in conjunction with everything else. And that just requires, it's like working two full-time jobs. You have your racing that you have to prep for and get ready for, and the travel time. And a lot of times we'll all be getting off of work, let's say on Thursday, driving all through the night, sometimes 12 plus hours by ourselves, with fully loaded, race equipment and bikes and everything, getting like a 4-hour cat nap and showing up to practice in the morning. It's not uncommon to get to the track at 10 o'clock at night and wake up and 3 times the amount of people are there come 6 a.m. that straggled through the night, driving from all over the country to get there. Everybody's in that boat. So no one's kind of got a leg up on anyone at that point. The goal would be to get to a point where you could be on a team and not have to do that. That's what I'd be striving for. But you have to, work your way through the rungs to get there. And that's really the only way to do it.
And in your class, there are teams that you could be involved with?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not this level.
That's the next level.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. A lot of personal expenses though, right? Because you're getting some sponsors. I want to talk about that down the road here in the interview. But, so you're basically paying for a lot of this stuff out of your own pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to get to that next level.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so nothing's given to you in the sport for sure. You're going to earn every piece of it. Are there some
like tooth and nail? That's right.
Are there some on a side tangent here? Are there some people in the sport that are like those, come from wealthy families and they come in with all the fancy gear and helmets and crap, and you're just like despising them?
Yeah, but I don't despise them. I actually kind of laugh at them a little bit sometimes, because no matter how much money you buy, you can't buy talent. And not saying they don't have talent, but you're always going to win over, you might not have the best equipment, but if you're a good racer, you'll be able to beat somebody with a better bike than you.
Right. Yeah, well, that's good. And that's a good way to look at it. So what kind of, you're racing right now, obviously. And at what point after your leg ordeal, your first, big crash there, what year was it that you got back into it and got back on the track and you're full speed ahead?
Last year.
Okay, wow. So how many years were you out then with that leg deal?
4.
Did you say 4? Sorry, it cut off.
Yeah, close to 4.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
What did
It was a
you...
long time not to be on any type of motorcycle and then just get back in it. It was a little scary. First day back was a little tense.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's something you knew during that 4 years that you were gonna, and let's talk about a little personal, stuff too. And I'll tell you that my heart goes out to you. I know you lost your father of stage 4 lung cancer. I lost my father 3 years ago to the day of stage 4 lung cancer. So I'm with you on that. And it was a really short diagnosis to death.
A year ago, this past Saturday, actually.
Okay, very close to the same time of year. So, so you're having to go through that at the same time, and it sounds like he kind of was a supporter for you, so to speak.
Yeah, the first day I went to the track and crashed 3 times, he was there. After the second crash, he was like, honey, I'm going to be in the truck because I can't witness this anymore, and I really just don't think this is a sport for you, but I'm still going to quasi-support you, and also because I'm stuck here and we can't leave without you.
Love it. That's what I would tell my daughter. I'm serious. I could not watch her wreck. I'm so worried about her.
He was like, honey, everybody's passing you. I just don't know if this is the sport for you. Maybe you should just stick to the horses. And I was like, no, just give me a chance. I got it. And then it got to be better. And he would go to a track day and be like, that's my daughter who just passed your son. I'm like, all right, Dad, you can't say that to people. Like, to fathers? Come on, like, you're going to start a fight with somebody. And he never got a chance to see me race. So when he got diagnosed with lung cancer, I knew I was going to get back into racing because there was no way I was going to leave on an injury or any other decision other than my own to leave the sport. So it was never a question of that. It was a question of like, all right, this costs a lot of money to acquire all this stuff again, like thousands and thousands of dollars. So when he got diagnosed, I just took out a loan and was like, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm going to buy a bike like tonight. And I just got back into it like on a whim. I didn't pre-plan the season. I didn't have the time to send out sponsorship requests or proposals or anything. I just was like, I'm just doing it. And hopefully I'll have the bike back together and back up in here in time. And he can see me race in Jersey before, he is no longer with us. And we just ran out of time. He never had a chance to see me race, but I'm a firm believer that he has saved my butt so many times already this year. Oh my God. I don't even know how to describe. I've had some very sketchy moments where I'm like, all right, thanks, Dad. And I like fist pump this guy. Because there's no other way I would have like walked away from that. There's no like explanation or it just like, for example, my first race back after he passed was Summit Point, which is this coming 22nd, 23rd, the last weekend in June. So he passed away May 9th. My mom had never been to a race, neither had he, and she went with me for the first time after he passed, and it was like this double apex right-hand turn, and it's kind of like a blind turn. I was in like 7th or 8th place, and there was like 45 bikes on the grid, and somehow somebody had come in too hot, and they T-boned my swing arm, and I went flying off the bike. Literally no hands, no feet touching the bike at all, and all I'm thinking is, I'm gonna die. Like, no one can see that I'm crashing, and they're going to come around this turn at 100 miles an hour, leaned over, and I'm going to get run over, and someone's going to kill me. By accident, obviously, not on purpose, but, like, this is not a good situation. I have no control over the bike. I have no control over anything. Like, I'm in the sky. And somehow, I just saw bikes, like, flying past me, like, left and right, like, it was super fast. And I landed with my torso back on the center of the bike. The bike was shut off, and we just coasted into the grass. Somehow.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my God. And I just kind of like patted myself down, like, are you still here? Like, is this heaven? what just happened? And I just turned my bike back on, and I kept racing. I mean, I got last, because like at that point, everybody was halfway across the track into the first lap at that point. But I'm like, holy cow. And I had guys come up to me in the pits afterwards, and they were like, I don't know how that race didn't get red flagged. I was expecting the helicopter to come out. I don't know how you didn't crash, because I ducked under your feet. They were so high in the air. Like I had my head ducked under your feet. And I'm like, dude, I don't know, bro. Like I can't explain it. It was like someone just picked me up and was like, nope, not today. And just like scooted me off into safety. I really don't know how else to describe it. It was the weirdest thing. And then the following weekend, somehow I didn't tighten my front brake caliper bolts, and I was missing 2 brake caliper bolts, and went around the whole track without crashing, and also had 6 ounces of fluid in my belly pan. I'm just like, all right, well, clearly Dad has a full-time job watching out for me, because there was never a dull moment during a race weekend now. And again, even this past weekend, I tripped going into my RV before practice on Sunday and sliced open my wrist a hairline away from my main artery. It got 8 stitches in my arm just walking. I was clumsy enough to somehow get hurt without even racing. And
Wow.
I'm just like, this is unreal. So I'm not like purposely putting myself in danger by any means, but there have been some close situations where I'm just like, okay, thanks again, Dad.
Yeah, you got guardian angels for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, and that gives me some comfort to, and I just, I mean, everybody believes different things, but I truly believe that he's looking out for me for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely. Was he a motorcycle guy?
Oh yeah. He hated that I got a crotch rocket.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah.
He was a Harley guy since day one and always wanted me to have a Harley. One of the first horses I sold, they had helped me out a lot with my college expenses, so I gave them back probably like 12 grand, I think, and he used that to get a Harley. And it was super cool because like he had sold his Harley to go on his honeymoon with my mom, and he never had a chance to get a bike ever again since then. So I helped him get his Harley back again, and he got it custom ordered exactly how he wanted it. And then here I come home one day. I'm like, I got to borrow your truck. He's like, where are you going? I'm like, to pick up a horse down in Maryland somewhere. He's like, all right, go ahead. And I come back with this Yamaha crotch rocket.
Oh boy, yeah.
He was like, get out. He was so mad. I was like, why aren't you going to teach me how to ride it? He's like, hell no.
Did you spend any time on the back of his Harley growing up?
Yeah. Well, he didn't have a bike because he sold it to go on my parents' honeymoon, but he would always have like friends' bikes and he would take me out for rides and stuff. Yeah, he loved that motorcycle. And he hated that I had a non-Harley. Anything other than a Harley was like not a motorcycle in his eyes.
Yeah, I hear you. That's I kind of expected that for some reason. Yeah. Now, did he? Because a lot of racing, and I know as you got into this, especially at your level where you're at, you know, you don't have full-time mechanics to be doing this stuff for you. Did he teach you about that, or did you get a sports bike and know how to ride it but had no clue about the mechanics of it? How did that kind of? Because I know you know a lot probably now. You have to.
Yeah, definitely. It's called YouTube.
Oh yeah, we do a lot of those videos here for people. Yep.
YouTube and like the online biker like OEM manuals where you pull up and it like tells you where all the bolts and nuts and screws go.
Like microfiche, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. A lot of that and a lot of Facebooking, like, oh my God, please help me. Or like FaceTime. Like, all right, here's the situation. Do you see it? Okay. How do I fix that? Like, and you can always find a racer late at night. And I can go online. I can guarantee any time of day between the month of February and October, I can go online at 4 o'clock in the morning and be up tearing my hair out or like 3 beers in. Like, how do I do it? I can't figure it out. Just staring at the motorcycle, having a panic attack. And I guarantee I could go online and find a racer buddy somewhere in the country or in the world for that matter, who is also awake doing something similar, who is just searching for someone else to not feel as crazy, staying awake all night wrenching on their bike. And usually we always get it figured out together some way, shape, or form. But that community is quite large. It's an extended family that you don't realize you've become a part of until you really get in it for a couple years. And it's such a welcoming community of people, which is another reason why I really love it. Anybody, anywhere, it's very heartwarming, especially with all these violent stories you hear about on the news and see about all the time. And it's like that heartwarming feeling you get when you hear a good Samaritan story. It's like that at the racetrack all the time, every weekend. Someone crashes and they make an announcement over the loudspeaker, hey, so-and-so needs this part, let's help get him back on the track, or her. And this whole welcoming community of people come from out of the woodwork to just help donate parts or borrow parts or sell parts or whatever to get that other racer back on the track and help them get to be racing against them in the next hour or however long it is till their next race. And it's just such a relief to know that there's still that communal, just good person mentality out there with all the nasty things we hear and read about all the time. It's very nice to see that and be around that.
That is so pretty, although you guys are competitive to a certain extent, it's very close still, and everybody really wants to help each other out and see you on the track. Yeah, absolutely. Because nobody wants to race against no one. True. And if you're helping someone, you could be in that same situation the next weekend or an hour later, for that matter. Probability of that happening is pretty high at some point throughout the season. So, like I've had guys lend me parts and say, here's my address, send it to me when you're done. I mean, I'm like, really? I don't even know you. They're like, it's all right. Well, that's very cool. That is very, very cool. It's kind of, the community we have here. And so I like to hear that it goes on, in the sports bike racing too. And now, as far as on a weekend when you go, I mean, you're kind of your own mechanic. You're kind of your own coach. You're kind of your own everything. I know your mom, right? Doesn't she help you? I mean, what kind of... how does this go? What kind of, you got a trailer you got your bike in the back and some parts, and tell me about how a typical weekend would go. So we've got the toy hauler that we remodeled that I have some videos up on YouTube about and on my website and stuff. That was not the plan by any means, by the way. We bought that thing and we were like, oh, we're good to go. And then as we were freshening up the look, so to say, putting our female touch on it, we found all this mold and we ended up having to gut the whole thing, which was not what we had planned on at all. But long story short, so we have this toy hauler. We have room in the back for myself, my other friend, Lloyd, his bike. He kind of like carpools with us to help us like all save money. We usually put the dirt bike, the bicycle, my mom's scooter to get around the pits faster, and my bike and my buddy's bike in the back. Actually, I'm sorry, the scooter, the Huffy, and the dirt bike go in the kitchen. And I'm probably the only girl that will approve of that. Yeah, that's awesome. Put it in the living room. It's fine. Just put some cardboard under it. And then our race bikes go in the back of the actual like garage section, and then we've got a pull-out couch that we shove in between the middle of them. And it is truly a game of Tetris / Jenga, Frogger, all rolled into one when packing that trailer. It is a fine art, let me tell you. So we pack everything up, get there, unload everything, set up our pit area. Usually have practice on Friday, and then again Saturday morning. We go to check, if we can get there Friday night in time, or if we're practicing all day Friday, we're able to go to tech inspection and registration with the race organization on Friday night. Otherwise, it is like just shit hit the fan come Saturday morning, because tech inspection will open at 6 a.m. and then you only have 2 hours to go to tech inspection, get your pink slip, sign all your documents, make sure that you're paid for all the classes that you entered for, blah, blah, blah. Take that paper, go back, get your bike and walk it up to the tech inspection line with the belly pan off and all of your gear, which if you're by yourself is a feat in and of itself, because it's just hard to do all of that by yourself. So usually I have mom behind me with a little wheelbarrow cart with all my gear, and I'll walk the bike up and she'll follow me. We'll go through tech inspection. They'll inspect my gear for safety, the bike, and make sure it passes all of its regulations and safety protocols. Then we take that back, put the tire warmers on, and go to practice first session at 8 a.m. And like all of that really it seems like 2 hours might be enough time, but the tire warmers have to be on for 45 minutes. So it is like hustle
and hustle fast in the morning on Saturday if you don't get it done on Friday night. So we try and get there Friday night, but if not, it is like hitting the ground running come Saturday morning for sure. And then you have 2 rounds of practice typically to learn the track or whatever. And then races are scheduled throughout the day accordingly. Same thing on Sunday, except you don't have to go through the whole tech inspection hassle rigmarole Sunday. You just start with practice, chapel service usually, and then races throughout the day. So she'll go over to Dunlop, whatever tire I'm running, and get the little printout sheet for the tires for the weekend. We'll match up the tire that I'm running to the tire spec sheet for the tire pressure settings that it should be. Tape that up to our little pit setup, and Mom will check the tire pressures throughout the day. And she's got a little surface temperature gauge. Make sure that if the surface temperature is going up a lot higher, to keep an extra eye on the tire pressures as well. Make sure they're not getting too high. So she does that, and then we just listen for the calls like everyone else and stand in the middle of the street closest to some microphone somewhere or some, loudspeaker, and listen for first call, second call, third call. First call is when we make sure I get my suit on, start getting my earplugs in, my helmet on. Second call, the gloves are going on. Third call, I'm sitting on the bike or getting ready to take the tire warmers off, because then you only have 1 minute to get to the pit out, or you're going to have to start from hot pit lane. So the calls are really important, and obviously you can't really hear them if you have a helmet on earplugs in, so having that second person there is really important. Otherwise, you got to pit yourself strategically next to someone who's running all the same classes as you, and you just watch them go when they go and hope that they're not messing up.
Yeah, it sounds busy and stressful to a certain point.
Yeah, we all sleep like babies.
Yeah, I bet. And your mom's, doing a lot of stuff for you, kind of been inundated by the sport too. So she's doing all this stuff for you. So
too. Yeah, she's like the soccer mom of the pits, like I got upset with her last weekend and I'm blaming the cut on my arm on my mom in a joking way, because she had 2 crock pots going with pulled pork. And we had all a bunch of friends and family over. And I'm like, Mom, the crock pots are tripping the breakers for the tire warmers, which is why we had the breaker box open, which is what I inevitably ended up tripping on and cutting my arm open on the sheet metal to that breaker box. So I'm putting half of that on her because I can't blame myself.
Yeah, perfect. You gotta have somebody to pawn that on. Yeah.
I mean, ultimately it is my fault at the end of the day, but no, she's great. I love her. She's definitely, we've supported each other throughout this time, and I hope that keeping each other busy with this has brought us closer. Not that we weren't close before. She's like my best friend, but she drives the truck now, and she's doing a lot of things that are coming out of her shell, so to say, and it's cool to see that. Actually, she got called out by a buddy of mine. When she was down in Daytona, I flew back up to come to work for a couple of days in between the first race weekend in Daytona. And she was down in Florida with the trailer and the truck, and somebody Facebook messaged me and was like, I just saw you blow past me at 80-some miles an hour with this huge 32-foot-long trailer. I was like, how do you know it was me? And he goes, because I saw the Delaware tags and the racing sticker on the back of your truck. And, like, who else could it possibly be from Delaware? Of course it was you. And I said, oh, that was my mom.
Pedal to the metal. Love it. Throttle down.
Yeah,
throttle down.
Somewhere, clearly. She was in a rush to be somewhere. So, yeah, it's fun. It's a great community, great lifestyle, and it's all worth it at the end of the day,
Absolutely. So you're, I know you're fresh or fairly fresh off. So we're kind of doing the timeline. We've got you back. You're out for 4 years. You come back a year ago. And I know recently, can you briefly describe, and I know it was a big ordeal for you, but you weren't back long and you got in another pretty serious wreck, although you weren't severely injured. Your bike got trashed, right?
Oh, I already blocked it out of my memory. I was like, wait, I did?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, you got it.
All right. Did my research say?
Actually, at the end of the year, last season, when I had just gotten into it again and everything, right after Dad passed, I had 1 round in, and then my motor blew up, which was all right, that just took me out. After the mental and physical just strain of losing my dad and then the motor going, I was like, okay, we need to regroup. We need to plan out everything ahead of time and build a race bike exactly how we want it and set it up right so that we're not dealing with stuff like this that's going to take me out if it does happen, and just better prepare ourselves for this year that we're currently in now. So I parted out that bike, got the bike that we're working on now, have been building it since July of last year. And first race, first weekend, there I go, high five in the sky. I'm like, man, I couldn't even get one race weekend in before I wadded this thing up. So here comes Dad saving my life again. Like, he just never gets a break, poor guy. First race of the day. It was pretty cold out, and that track is pretty notorious for spitting bikes out and chewing them up alive in turn 3, which is the first time the left side of the tire will see the track.
Which track is this, Kristin?
Roebling Road. In Santa Georgia. Yeah. So, and I was moving pretty well. I had the fastest time in my group. I was confident I would have won quite a few races that weekend, just given the lap times I was running. And it just came over like 5 laps into the race and wiped out like a Donkey Kong banana peel moment. It just, no forewarning, just out from under me. And there's like a little brim on the end of the track. And when I hit that, it just launched me in the bike. Paramedic said I was like 40 feet in the air, as was the motorcycle. So we did our like triple axle, Lutz, whatever move. And I don't know how that bike didn't end up in pieces and on a flatbed. I don't know how, but again, a perfect example of the race community. I had about 6 friends, from friends I didn't know I had that I became friends with, to friends that I've known for a while, to Sean, the guy I used to work for, to my buddy Lloyd, to my other buddy Bobby, who was just there spectating and ended up staying up all through the night and helping us rebuild the bike. And I raced it the next day with cardboard and zip ties and duct tape.
Wow.
It was falling apart in the wind. It was not a stable motorcycle, that's for sure. But I had to test it. I was okay, thank God. After I crashed, I stood up and was like, oh, okay, my bell has been rung a little bit. I think I'm going to sit back down now. So I kind of like stood up and meandered around and then sat right back down. But I was okay. A little bit bruised here and there, needless to say. A little more bruised the next day, obviously. And the next day after that, a little bit more bruised than I thought I was. I was getting stiffer as the week went on. But I had to ride it the following day because there was no way I was going to shake down that bike at Daytona, because Daytona will just eat you up and spit you out alive. And if there's any issues, Daytona will find it, because you're just wide open for so long there that you can't go there without a bike that's in good shape. So
the next day you basically used that data to make sure everything was working?
Yeah, I still raced it. I got like second to last, but I didn't care. I was like, whatever, I'm still alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
the community came together and kind of fixed your bike up, and now as of today, I take it you're and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're back. You got your bikes ready to go. You're ready to race. You're ready to get into it. Tell us a little bit about what. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, fresh paint job, and we're all looking like we did before we went to Roebling. Put it that way.
Very cool. So you're ready to rock and roll. So tell me where you see yourself in, let's say, 2 years. Where you want to be, where you're trying to get to. Give us a little picture of that.
Sure. So, excuse me. Sorry, my allergies are like really acting up today. So every now and then my throat is like losing my voice. I would say 2 years from now, I would love to be not working like everybody else in this sport, not working my regular day job. I'd like to be competing professionally, full-time. Going back to Europe, doing some stuff over there would be the goal. And also like some supermoto stuff. I have a bike I'm building right now to cross-train. I'd like to be dabbling into that a little bit too more as well, which would be the goal. So, and I think I can get there.
That's awesome. And so the way you get there is to keep, doing well. I take it, it's all, I don't know, is it like an ongoing point system?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm pretty confident I would have done it like third time's the charm. This is like my third attempt at a full race season. I haven't yet seemed to have been able to complete one full season. You know, my first season got cut short with my injury. Second attempt at a season got cut short with the motor and with my dad. And this is my third attempt. This year, the goal is to finish the whole season. Last year, I had like 200 points. I needed 400, and I missed 7 rounds. So I'm pretty confident I would have gotten, I mean, I did like 3 rounds, and I had half the points I needed to get my expert license. It just didn't turn out with all the other events that happened the way they did that I could, but I'm hoping I'll pick it right back up again, and pretty confident that, you know, if I can take 4 years off and within 3 weekends get a podium, that this year I'm going to pick it back up again pretty quickly. I just have to get, you know, warmed up again, shall I say.
Absolutely. And I know that you're looking at your website and doing a little research. You're starting to get some sponsors now. Is that a positive thing, going in the right direction?
Yeah, so I've actually contracted to work with a marketing agency and company to help me better brand myself and market myself. They work with me on just building my brand and creating more value for sponsors, how to bring new sponsors into the sport that don't have any experience in motorsports, and helping enrich our sport and bring more attention to it so we can get more people out on the track and off the streets. And if they're, you know, truly wanting to race, you know, not hurting themselves on the street and getting it out of their system on the racetrack like all of us do. And bringing just more people into the sport, the more the merrier. You know, it's a great community. Yes, it is expensive, but you don't have to take it to the level that we all are. You know, I mean, there's people out there who are just doing track days for fun. And even it's the same community of people. And we just all love it so much. We can't help but want to bring more people into it, because we can't see how anyone would not enjoy the same experience that we do.
That's awesome.
That it is. So
your sponsors, are they giving you like, I mean, is it enough to, they're not really giving you salaries at this point. They're willing to give equipment and help out where they can that way?
There's a mix. Every sponsorship arrangement is going to be different in and of itself. So we all have different agreements that we've, you know, come to supply each other with. So I supply this in exchange for you supply this or that. So each one's going to be slightly different, but most of it will be your major products that you need. And if you're not going to be supplied them, you're going to have to buy them out of pocket. So essentially it is still a cash, you know, somebody's got to pay for it at the end of the day, because you need it to race. So a lot of these things, it's either coming out of my pocket or it's going to be an arrangement that I can negotiate, that I can provide the sponsor some sort of a return on their investment in me. So
right. Cool. Well, very cool. Now, if people want to, you know, learn more about you, you got a website, Facebook, anything like that where they can find out about you?
So I have my website, which is very easy to remember. It's my name, Kristin Casey Racing, just spelled out. And my first name is, I know there's so many Kristins out there, and we all have the biggest struggle. And every Kristin I meet always is like, oh, mine is always spelled this way, and everybody misspells it to be this way. So mine is spelled Kristin, and then my last name, Casey, Casey, and then the word racing. I'm pretty sure if you do a Google search and spell it a different way, you'll still populate and end up in the same place. Not that many Kristin Casey racing people out there. In fact, you're probably the only one. So that's easy to find, and that will send you to all of the other links and funnel you to, you know, my Twitter, my Instagram, my YouTube, my Facebook, all that. So, and I have them all kind of tethered on a news feed on that homepage as well, to stay up to date on what's happening and my schedule and all the ups and downs and behind the scenes shenanigans of racing.
Absolutely. And we did visit your website. Looks good. And I know Lurcher was on your Facebook page and all that. So we'll have it in the show notes too, of course, for everybody. And really, Kristin, appreciate you spending the time with the law-abiding biker community and giving us a chance to learn more about you. Is there is there any way, I don't know if you have it set up or anything, how do people support you best? Is it just following you and that kind of stuff? Or I know sponsors, obviously. You know,
if you feel so inclined, there's always PayPal.
Okay, there you go.
But I don't. That's not typically a form that's brought to all of our attention. People don't just usually hand out money. But if someone felt so inclined, I would not turn it down. Just throwing that out there.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, my email, if anybody wants to, work with me in any sort of way, or I do speaking engagements as well, and I work a lot with kids and love kids, and talk a lot about overcoming obstacles and things to that effect. So trying to offer a lot more than just the racing aspect of things. I mean, obviously I've been through a lot. And there's a lot of people out there who've been through similar things, yourself included. We're either losing a parent or going through things that are just life's speed bumps, I guess. And I'm always more than happy to talk to anybody about stuff like that, or like I'm going to a couple high schools and grade schools around here to talk to kids and stuff just about being who you want to be and staying strong and, finding happiness in life with whatever it is that makes you happy, even if it's against the grain. So I'm always open to talking to people about stuff like that, and even overcoming injuries. I mean, hell, I've been through enough injuries that I think I know what other people are experiencing their first time around if they get hurt, being an athlete in any sport. So I'm very open about talking about stuff like that. And of course, anyone with any type of company who wants to get involved in motorsports, I'll be more than happy to entertain any conversation to that effect as well.
Very cool. Thanks again, Kristin, and appreciate you hanging out with us here and all that. I'm sure you got to get dinner or something like that. You probably haven't even eaten.
Well, I scarfed it on a burger.
I see how it is.
To get a little something in.
Yeah, awesome though. That was really informational. We appreciate you spending the time and all that. If there's anything we can do here at Law Abiding Biker Media, let us know. We'll help where we can. We got I don't know if you know how the podcast industry goes, but we are the number one listened to motorcycle podcast in the world. So this is going to go out to a extremely large audience. I don't know what other shows you did, but you'll definitely get a lot of traction with this, and hopefully some people showing some interest and stuff like that.
Well, great. And I appreciate you guys having me on. And again, just thank you for taking the time to talk with me.
Absolutely. Hit us up if you ever need anything. Okay. God bless, and have a good racing season. All right. Bye.
Thank you. God bless you too. All right. Take care. Bye.
Oh my goodness. That was an awesome interview, man. What do you think, Lurch? Did you enjoy talking to her?
Oh yeah, great gal.
Yeah, Kristin Casey, guys. Again, KristinCaseyRacing.com. We really thank her for being involved and giving the law-abiding biker community some time to answer some of those questions. Very, very intriguing story. So anyways, thanks again, guys, for tuning in. I hope you liked that episode, and we're going to keep coming at you hard. We've got some more interviews coming up in the future, waiting to be released to you guys. Call to action, guys. Don't forget, we talked about the biker gripper. It's available exclusively in the Law Abiding Biker store, guys. That's right. The strongest, sexiest, sleekest cell phone and GPS motorcycle mount on the market. Use it to mount your cell phone, GPSs, radar detectors, all that stuff, guys. It is tried and tested by us. We believed in it so much, we stamped our very own logo and approved this thing, and we've released it to you guys. You can't get it anywhere except the Law Abiding Biker store. Nowhere else right now. And just go over to lawabidingbiker.com/bikergripper. You can learn all about it. You can learn if it's for your needs. There's several different models. There's videos explaining it, of course, in true law-abiding biker style. We left nothing out, and you will have no questions if this thing works for you and which model you want. All right, guys, don't forget that Law Podcast hotline phone number, 509-731-3548, or leave us a voicemail right from any computer for free anywhere in the world, lawabidingbiker.com/voicemail. Email us, of course, regular contact, lawabidingbiker.com/contact. You know what they can do here, Lurch? Get on the email club. It's free. We're coming out with a ton of videos. We can send you guys emails when we come out with new free content, lawabidingbiker.com/email club. What else can they do for us? Lurch?
It doesn't cost them a thing, but they can hop right over to rate us on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. That would help us a lot in the rankings, and we would greatly appreciate it. It doesn't cost you a thing, just a little bit of your time.
Absolutely. About 30 seconds, and it bumps us up in the iTunes rankings,
right,
so more law-abiding bikers around the world can find our podcast and join this thing we call the biker revolution. Ain't that right, Lurch?
Word.
Well, buddy, thanks for all the work today. It's been a long day. Thanks for the podcast. Appreciate you being in the studio.
My pleasure. You know what? LD thinks he's pretty fast, but I think old Kristin can whip his butt.
I definitely agree. Peace out. Keep the rubber side down.
And the shiny side up.